Make sure you hit that like.
Like and subscribe.
Metaphysics is going to have to be the quote-unquote religion of tomorrow. If it isn't, you're fucked. Totally and absolutely.
Yes, indeed. We are back once more from the wild-ass simulation that is going on outside. Back to Cult of Dangerous Gentlemen here once again. Good to see, to not see, but hear, link up with you fellas. How's the week been?
Interesting. The
Interesting.
wasp I've been watching have came back.
You getting stalked by a wasp?
No, I smoke in the patio a lot, so I pay attention to nature. So like, there's been a wasp mess I've been keeping up with. Like, they disappeared for a minute because like the spiders covered them or covered their surroundings, but I don't know how like they escaped, and then like another set of wasps came back. But like, there's like three spiders just watching the nest, waiting to slip up. It's the craziest shit. It's made my fear of spiders, being giant spiders around the world, even more stressful. Because
Yeah.
spiders just fucking just sit there and watch you. They're just sitting there watching you, and then the minute you get in their web, that's when they creep up on you.
Yeah, the
Why
smart
haven't
ones.
Why haven't you genocided them yet?
I got a screen patio. They don't fuck with me. I don't fuck with them.
I don't know. It's too close. You need a wasp holocaust. You need to stamp them out now before it gets out of control. They get you in a fucked up contract. Get them out of there.
Facts.
I feel like there's a market for a wasp poison to work in the word Holocaust for some way. Like, is that whole entire word off limits?
I don't know. Lee, Don, Lee saying you're quiet.
Okay, let me turn myself up a little bit. That should be a little bit better. But yeah, so I don't know. Are we allowed to use that word? What's up with that?
Absolutely.
Really?
You can't own a word. No, absolutely.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if that it just about the act about slaughtering, because I know we don't have no problem with that. We got the Terminator, all kind of kill shot. I think one of them really is called kill shot too. It's got like a bullseye on the front. And you carry it, and you got the sprayer in the other hand. You pump it, and you kill all the bugs.
Why not?
Yeah, why
Did I
not?
just hear you pitch a movie called The Holocauster?
Oh,
Is that what I heard?
the Holocauster. Wow. Yeah, I don't know if that would fly. I got to be honest.
Listen,
Okay,
JoJo's
wait a
Rabbit
minute.
is fucking hilarious and amazing. If they let that fly, I don't want to hear shit.
But the Terminator, listen, I mean, he talks like a German Nazi. I mean, the whole movie, I mean, he didn't really learn English that well yet. So,
That's true.
during the course of the show, or during the course of the movie, he's called the Terminator, but he sounds like the Holocauster.
Right. And the fact that there is a singular Holocauster, even though, your brain is only going to go to one person. So if you make a movie called The Holocauster and you don't mention the one person who's known for having done it, I don't know. You might be able to get away with it if you just use it just as a word and make no reference to any other time it's ever happened in history.
Not at all. Listen, it's going to be a black dude that's murdering Irishmen that are giving out bad record contracts. If you want to just go after people that aren't going to have any representation, you have to attack the Irish. And I think you could get away with it.
Okay. I like it. Attack the Irish. I'm on board so far. I could definitely get on board with that. Attack the Irish, call yourself the Holocauster. And this is just exclusively hunting Irish people who give out bad record deals. That's pretty much
Yeah.
his job. Yeah, that's
I think that's how you could get away with it. And
yeah, I don't
and
know
it's
if
kind of
anybody
like,
would be mad at that.
I think, and you could kind of have it like Blade. You know what I mean? Like he's putting the vampires like out in the sun to be killed. I mean, the Irish don't keep very well in the sun, so you can have some scenes where he's like tying them up on the beach and the sun's just baking them and they scream in agony. Like you could really, I think you could. I
could
think
sauce
it's a
it
great
up.
film. Yeah,
Sauce it up a little bit.
sauce it up.
Throw in some torture.
Sauce it up.
Some environmental
Yeah.
torture.
Have some dry potatoes and just leave it there to torture them. Like, we're not gonna use this shit.
Wow.
Not needed.
Yeah, I don't know who's. Is there an Irish community that you have to deal with if you make a movie like that?
Of course not.
Absolutely not. They don't care. They used
Yeah,
to.
I don't
They'll
think so.
take all the light that they could get.
Right, right. Who's
No,
like an
man.
Irish spokesperson? Who's the leader? Who's like a? I
He
don't
got
know.
killed in prison for snitching. Was it Bulger? Was his name?
Oh, was he their representative, like a career criminal, mass murderer?
Boston Irish.
That
Yeah.
Irish
Yeah.
representative?
Yeah.
I'm with it.
I don't think so. I don't think he was an activist. I'm pretty sure he was a criminal
He was
I'm
active.
pretty sure he
that
was.
actually.
Is he? Listen, did he try to sell weapons to the IRA?
Oh, I don't know if he was actively involved in that or not. Maybe you're right.
I might call
Now he's
that
political.
activism.
You're right.
Just saying.
Yeah, fair enough.
Wow.
I mean, he definitely didn't have an Instagram, and he wasn't showing up on commercials telling us why we're all pieces of shit for making fun of Irish people.
Nah, I don't
So
think
he's
he
not
really
in that
cared.
vein activism.
Yeah, he was a weapons smuggler. Was Whitey involved with the IRA? From the start of his involvement with the FBI, Bulger insisted that he would never give up the IRA. So that's it's like
There you go. He's an
Cameron,
activist.
like Cameron's like, I'll snitch on some people from out of town, but I ain't giving you nobody from New York. Yeah, I'll snitch on these other guys that I do business with, but I'm not giving up the IRA.
Yeah, he's dead too. Cameron's character. I forgot his name.
Oh yeah, Alpo. Yeah, that's wild shit though. Yeah, so they attack the Irish. Nobody's. I feel like they're a group who has been under scrutinized, at least lately in the past decade or so. Nobody's done a really good.
The last
Deep
Irish
dive.
guy got assassinated.
Well, the Irish are like the maybe I guess you could argue the Scottish, but the Irish and the Scottish, they're pretty close. But they're like the Rogans of Northern Europe, and then I think the Italians would probably be the Rogans of Southern Europe.
So just
So
white Rogans in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And there's no organizing, and even when there was all these other European settlers, all of them, and then there was European settlers in different waves from just about every place in Europe at some point in America.
They
But,
all hated the Irish, didn't they?
They hated the Irish and the Italians. Yeah, they discriminated against them, and I think that might have what led a lot of Irish to become cops. So like even to this day, you have a lot of Irish and Italians that are like in unions and whatnot.
Well, yeah. Like I said, under scrutinized for sure. Nobody's put a real spotlight on the Irish as of late, so I think we should be the ones to do it.
Let's make that movie. Dennis Leary's not going to have an outrage activism commercial over it. Nobody's coming after us.
Yeah, I'm
No,
we
not
can
gonna
we
come
can
around.
openly mock the Irish.
And if they do, they'll still let it
The
slide.
Irish and
'Cause
Italians that are like.
not enough power.
No, nobody wants to protect. Who wants to get on board with the Irish? Is that
But-
is that where you wanna tie your ship to the Irish in this
But
fight? No,
But in the movie, they're gonna have really big beards and funny hats.
they should.
But they're Irish.
They
They're
should.
gonna have deep Irish accents.
How many gingers do you think we'll be able to find for this movie?
Oh, we'll find a lot. We just got to go to Boston and
Only
upper,
ginger Irish, because in my head, all Irish people are gingers. So just for my own psychological comfort, we should just cast all the gingers. And I'm sure we could get some kind of write off, because isn't that like a marginalized group or something? Gingers.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, not officially.
No, not
Not
officially.
But Ireland will probably give us a lot of money to go and shoot it there.
Oh yeah.
We'll probably be able to secure funding by shooting it over there. They'll give us like a big fat discount.
I don't know. I don't know if I trust them that much to shoot that movie in their country.
Oh man, there's a great
That'll
place
be
to
fine.
shoot, man. It's fine. Lord of the Rings. Plenty of great shoots.
Listen,
Images,
they're
everything over there. They need the exposure.
and they're riddled with white guilt.
Yeah.
You
Really?
both will be
Okay.
fine.
They
Oh,
don't get into
absolutely.
fights. The last fights that they really got into was with England. Other than that, they're pretty much help
Oh, you
third
got
world
you.
countries.
you mean like as a nation?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Individually, yeah. An Irish person will fuck you up. They will fight. Yes.
Yeah, I
Rogans
heard
of the
Irish
North.
people are
No.
different.
Oh yeah,
Those-
they'll fight
Those
without a doubt. No
those
hesitation.
white Negroes are special up there. English, Scottish, and Irish. Very special, particular white people.
Yeah, the Scottish and the Irish both, they had some oppression under the English.
Yeah.
And so they think the English are pussies and don't really care for them. I think the Scottish actually wanted out from the European Union or out from under Great Britain at one point too, pretty recently. They're still kind of like, fuck you guys, we're out.
Yeah, it's 50-50, but they make money, they bring money.
Yeah, who knows, dude? Who knows? Those are not places that I plan on visiting. I don't think I would have. I would have to have a really huge and it would have to be a very beneficial reason for me to just go to Ireland. Like, I can't even imagine a scenario where I would be in Ireland. Maybe it's my small thinking, but I'm like, that's not a place I would go visit. I'm not much of a traveler guy anyway. I'm just easily satisfied by video. So if it's a place I want to go to, I'll look at some videos of it and be like, oh, that's nice, and then I won't really think about it much anymore. There's not a whole lot of places I really want to go, so I can't even imagine what would bring me to Ireland. And that's no disrespect to the geographic location. I'm just saying, I just can't even imagine the reason I'd be there. I also can't imagine the reason I'd be in like Tennessee or some shit like that. I probably wouldn't go to Tennessee for any reason. A few places, but Ireland. But to film a movie called The Holocauster.
Perfect location.
Perfect location. There's no better place to film that movie than Ireland.
Come on, man.
All the extras that would get killed in the background would be gingers. All the casualties of war. The hero couldn't be ginger, though. That we can't do.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, can't have.
No, we're calling Liam Neeson.
Exactly. See, this shit writes itself. Just Liam Neeson heading a movie called The Holocauster. Yeah, pay your penance. Pay your full penance. This is the video you have to do to get yourself back right with the entirety of the racial agenda of the world. You got work to do.
Kanye's he's going to be out of work. I mean, he's been canceled from everything. So we'll give him an acting role. He'll probably be not a great actor.
This Kanye canceling thing.
But listen, Liam will carry him. Liam will be like his mentor, that helps him get his vengeance against these Irish dudes that have these scrolls.
Let's bring the IRA in it.
Beards and funny hats for some reason, but they speak the gingers with Irish accents.
Yeah, gingers with Irish accents, funny hats, huge beards.
Yeah,
very greedy.
Right,
IRA.
But they're Irish, but they drink heavily. That's how you know they're Irish. They're always wasted throughout the whole. There's never a scene where you see one of them without being inebriated. And Liam doesn't do all the badass shit. Like, he gives the badass lines, but he's really just like, hey, I gotta empower this dude. I recognize that you've been fucked over by these drunk Irishmen, and now you have to become the Holocauster, and he's gonna help him.
Oh my god. I don't know. I want to believe that we live in a world that would allow you to make a film like this, and just even if it's gonna fail, let it fail. But for some reason, I don't know, man. I don't know. But the one thing we would have in our favor is that the people that's being exploited the most are the Irish, and I don't think anybody really cares about that. So,
nope.
If you're
we can all agree on that,
right?
Not at all.
If you're gonna pick a group that nobody really cares about, I mean, there's only one obvious answer. So yeah, I think the cards may be in favor of this one. This one has to go into the compendium.
Coming to a movie theater.
And he kills them all. He has to kill them all with potato cannons. You know those potato cannons you made in like 3rd grade science class? Just shoots out the potato at a high velocity. Yeah, and he's just murdering them with potatoes.
He's
Even
creeping
better.
through like Rambo, setting traps, but all his traps are set with like some crazy complicated pulley system, and at the end of it, it's just like a shot glass of brandy. It's just that's all it takes. Everything else is a Rube Goldberg machine, but it's always on. The one thing that's gonna get them is the liquor.
It
the
pours
alcohol.
whiskey on them and then sets them on fire. There's a potato cannon at the end of it that just fires a potato right through their skull.
And he went in with no weapons. He found all of this stuff just laying around in the village where he went to find them. He just made his potato
Liam
cannon
taught
on the
him.
spot.
Liam prepared him. It's all a whole bunch of flashback scenes of like him meditating with Liam
the old
Neeson.
master with
Yeah.
the beard, with the red beard, old master just teaching the Holocaust to all the.
You know what? Fuck it. We're gonna dress him up like Pai Mei. It's gonna be Liam Neeson dressed up as Pai Mei, as like an enlightened kung fu philosopher
Irish
instructor.
philosopher.
Right, but a thick Irish accents and helping the Holocauster enact revenge against these drunken Irishmen in funny hats and big beards that fucked our lead character out of money in a contract.
And the only thing that separates Liam from the rest of the Irish is that he stopped drinking like 4 years ago.
Right,
And
and
then-
he's 70 years old and he's ripped. He's always on time. His house is immaculate. It just everything changed.
It's over
You know.
4 years, and I'm the most enlightened ninja Irishman killer that you've ever seen. I love it.
It writes itself.
It's not problematic in the slightest.
None. I don't see any problem. None.
In the slightest. I love it. Speaking of adding things to the compendium, so I'm not sure if you can see everything that's going on over here. I think I shared it, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to switch it over. But I was doing some work in Midjourney, and I was trying to get like some good ideas for patriarchy, and this image kept coming up. You see how many times like I was trying, it just kept popping
Yeah.
up. The guy with the glass of red wine for a head. I don't know why, but for some reason, like this shit is just amazing to me. I feel like
That's patriarchy for sure.
yeah, it has this level of absurdity that kind of reminds
That's a dope
me
one.
of
I like that one.
like Dick Tracy villains and shit like that. And the reason I'm not showing this on screen, you guys are just gonna have to imagine it, is because this is proprietary images, and until we get them solidified and cemented in some material of our own, I don't want to give away our best ideas. If you look back and see what patriarchy is in our compendium, it's enough anyway. But this imagery right here, I just feel like it's the best possible add-on that we could make part of his aesthetic, dude. He just has a glass of red wine for a head. The tick.
That's the perfect evil villain.
I
Right.
feel like he needs like a bolo tie and just a silver mustache for no reason on the glass.
Right, yeah, we could
A
etch-
villain mustache just plastered right on there.
Yeah, I love it, dude. This is his vibe from now on. This is how I'm gonna see him forever, bro.
Listen, we have given to the simulation, and the simulation is giving back to us. We need to accept this gift.
Yeah, yeah.
This is what the simulation has decided that patriarch is going to be, and I'm with it. I like it.
Beautiful. Absolutely. We gotta get us some more info about Hail Hitter too. Hail Hitter. That's what it's Hail Hitter, so nobody get nervous. But we gotta get some more information about this guy so I can pull it into the session and start. I was trying. Let me see if I
Did
can.
you did you run Iceman Charlie Chaplin?
I did. I absolutely did. But it was giving me a really difficult time because it's softening up Charlie Chaplin in a way that's very specific. Let me see. It's not that far. It's very specific. And the mustache is never the way you want it. I couldn't get it to really nail any Iceman images with that face. And you see what it did? It spreads the mustache out like crazy no matter what. So I kind of feel like, except for a few of them, but I feel like that's
Hitler really did ruin that mustache, huh?
yeah, even to the
Oh, we could go
algorithm.
in and edit it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That one in the bottom left is almost there.
This one here.
Yeah, that's almost there. We would just have to adjust the mustache.
Dude, yeah, he's a
That top
I
one
could
too.
definitely do that. I could
Always
definitely.
face the other way.
There's a few of them that came out decent, but it was like it was difficult to get that face the way we wanted it to. But I'm on it though. I'm on it. We could definitely make some edits to some of these, and these characters definitely need to start commenting on social media and current events and shit like that, because we need their opinions, especially right now. Especially right now. This is the perfect time for universe
perspective.
building. Right.
Yeah, it's never been more important to
The
know
world needs to know what we have in our minds. We have wisdom to
Superheroes.
bestow.
Super villains that never can be convicted of a crime, because
Exactly.
all they do is convince you to be the person you actually want to be.
That's right.
And they're seen as villains, bro. They're seen as villains. So I don't even know what the latest thing is that's going on with the guy. I know he keeps, the droppings continue, the removal of revenue creation streams continue, and I heard I know Russell Simmons. See, what made me look back at it was revisiting that Jay-Z song, and a lot of people seem to have forgotten that he said this, but Jay-Z said in one of the, a huge release of music that kind of came out of nowhere. People wasn't ready for it. Then he got the OJ video with the blackface character, so it's like super revolutionary. Everybody's talking about it, and he says in the song about how you wonder why Jewish people own all the property in America. And he didn't even say like a lot. He said all of it. You wonder how Jewish people own all the property in America.
He didn't mince words as
Yeah.
Not at all.
What I think was what I realized too, you would think he meant money, but it's the United States of America. Did I get that wrong or right?
No, yeah, he said why they own all the real estate in the United States. Something to the I might have to find
No. But I mean, like, do you know why? And then like he paused. He shows the $100 bill, but it
He
says
said
the
this how they
United
did it.
States.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says this how they did it, but you would think he meant to say money. This is how I thought he meant, but you would think he said money, but it's really the meaning behind it is the United States.
Or just they're putting their heads together, because the line that he was saying right before that was, you take your drug money and buy the block, that's how you rinse it. And he's talking about, and then right afterwards he starts talking about financial freedom, and that whole section of the song is about real estate, buying property at the right time, and community economics type shit. But he didn't really get super eloquent about it. He just said Jewish people own all the real estate.
Yeah, he wasn't careful or sophisticated, and nobody gave him the scrutiny that Kanye got. Like, what did he mean? Like, nobody was trying to say, hey, what's the meaning underneath that? Let's really just kind of look into that. But yeah, he said it in a way that if you attributed that quote to Kanye, I would love to see how the internet reacted. Like, do you know there's a song where Kanye said, "Do you ever wonder why Jewish people own all the property in America?" Can you believe this shit?
Yeah, nobody batted an eye pretty much. And then I saw some footage of Russell Simmons talking to Vlad around
Russell
that time.
Simmons.
Yeah, exactly. Russell Simmons
Fuck outta
talking to
here.
Vlad, and he was saying that a lot of people in the Jewish community have been gunning for black folks. Like anything that they say, they'll try to latch onto it and make you anti-Semitic. He was naming specific people at the Anti-Defamation League. Like he had like an ongoing thing talking to these people about it, and he was naming people who he thinks unfairly goes after a lot of people to try to label them anti-Semites. And none of that has come up in this conversation at all. Everybody just went straight to the worst case scenario. This guy must hate. I mean, he did say DEFCON 3. We'll give him that. But other than that, he's just kind of pointing fingers at structures.
He's not even saying anything where it comes to violence. He's saying the people that I've been meeting and talking to who happen to be Jew,
Ish.
right? And everybody that he talks to, what's those particular people? Well, a lot of those people are apparently record execs and business owners, right?
Oh yeah.
But
absolutely.
I mean, this is a tall Israeli is running this rap shit. Like this isn't new. Like nobody asked
That's what
Mos
I'm
Def to come
saying,
into the
but it's-
conversation. I think he's exiled from the country, but nobody brought up like, yeah, Mos Def said a tall Israeli is running this rap shit. Do we now make that like, hey, is he in support of Kanye? Do they have the same? I mean, it's listen. It's all I can't allow myself to get angry or drunk over this. I've actually been reborn.
No, we need to
I'm a-
rage. We need to
I'm a,
rage.
I'm a I'm a
You need to
caveman
rage.
reborn. I'm not gonna rage anymore. I woke up. I don't even remember. We I wasn't here. I passed out. I'm sure.
Listen,
I
the
woke
Holy
up.
Ghost entered your body. You had your DNA read. You are partially black. Your blackness came out and was telling truth. Let's
There
not
was
be ashamed of
vomit. There was vomit all over the
That
sink.
was the devil.
I woke up.
That
I
was
woke
the
up.
evil that cleansed your body.
The dog that's never allowed in the room. I woke up with this motherfucker on the bed, which
And
he's
thank
never
you, by
allowed
the
to
way.
do.
Thank you, by
Yeah.
the way. You're really not a white person by not having the dog sleep with you. Thank you.
I
appreciate
listen. Don't lick my face.
you.
Don't. But this is what I'm saying. This is how I know it was a cleansing of it's a caveman reborn. Like I'm waking up in vomit and with a dog with his lipstick dick pressed up against my leg and he's licking my face, which I don't allow. He's in the bed, which I don't allow. And this is how like I've hit a low. I can't do this again.
The dog was like, embrace your true nature.
Right. He's like, how you like this lipstick pressed up against you? It's slimy, right? You into this? You smell wet. I know what you into. So but I just want to confirm. I wasn't here for the review, and I didn't go back and listen to it. We agreed that the alien was racism, right?
Yes.
Right. White
Everybody
supremacy
put it in.
specifically.
Okay.
Alien was
I don't
white
feel it's smart.
supremacist.
White supremacy. I saw it as racism, but I'm sure the review was excellent, gentlemen. I'm sure you carried on just fine without me.
Racism is less powerful than white supremacy.
That's right.
You gotta, if you want it to be really dangerous, you gotta say it's white supremacy. Just regular old run.
When you say, "Oh, it's just racist," it doesn't mean anything. You gotta be white supremacist.
Right. That's when shit gets serious. Racism is just run of the mill, like shit that happens at Dunkin'
Giving black
Donuts.
secrets, but it's okay.
Yeah, these are definitely race trader secrets. When they want to turn it up, they'll say white supremacy, not racism.
Yeah.
But it's really just trolling. It's trolling the algorithm. That's another one. So everybody should always stop listening to stories of outrage. How about that as a thought experiment suggestion? If the person who's presenting their case is outraged, we can just deem everything they're saying as an overreaction and not listen to any of it.
Well, if they just want you to be outraged,
right?
Like they're only telling you just to be, hey, you want some of this trauma?
Right.
How'd
If
you
that's
like
all there
some
is
trauma?
outrage. You should be able to just completely ignore it.
You know, I saw I know people think Jason Whitlock is a controversial person. I don't know all the statements he made over the years, and you know, every time I've seen him, he seems pretty reasonable and measured. He makes good points. But he had this dude on one of his shows talking about Kanye, and I don't know who this dude is. His name is Royce. I don't know. They didn't put his last name. I guess maybe that's just what he goes by. But like they went in really heavy on this whole topic, and I was shocked. Like he's one of the only people out there in media that's really going that in depth from a perspective of a black person saying like, yeah, this is a thing. This is a conversation that gets had whether people acknowledge it or not. And there's a sentiment here that people feel, and they're not allowed to say it. And there was a startling revelation I had that in our culture it's okay to say it's true, but you can't say that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's a thing where you're like, oh, it's true, but you can't say that. Like
that sucks.
The fact that we're comfortable with that, to live in a society where we can all know something's true, but we can't say it, that's kind of a scary prospect. But I'm not waking up with the dog today, so I'm not gonna drink. But I will say this, that at the end of all of this, what was proven is that there are some executives who happen to be Jewish who absolutely have the power to stop a person, no matter how talented or popular they are, from getting their product to market. They can absolutely shut off the supply chain. So the question becomes, why can't you stick up Jews with German Rugers? And why isn't everybody else censored? Like if that community or those individuals who happen to be Jewish who are record executives, like couldn't they easily say, hey, we want to make money, but we don't want to make money promoting murder jingles and the destruction of the black community. So we're going to put some more money behind Mos Def. We're going to put some more money behind Gangstar. We're going to put some more money behind Chance the Rapper. Like, and for you know, just like we you know, we're going to edit Jews with German Lugers. You know, if you've murdered 473 black young men on an album, shit's got to get edited. You know, so I do think now it's impossible to say that there's no accountability from the infrastructure. Like, everybody's hands are dirty, everybody's making money. I get it, but what we've just seen is, if these executives or these people in positions of power who happen to subscribe to secular Judaism feel like, hey, I don't like what you're saying, they can absolutely shut everything down. So if you guys have had this power this whole time to shut things down, why haven't you been canceling people that promote the destruction of black people? You're willing to destroy people that hurt the feelings of Jewish people, but you won't shut down people who promote the destruction of black people, and clearly it's in your power to do that. Why not? And why don't you feel kind of about making your money that way? That's a legitimate conversation, and I think if nothing else, Kanye made it inevitable. He made it impossible for people not to have that conversation now.
Yeah, I think that one of the most difficult things is going to be, if anybody brings that up, I think whether I agree with it or not doesn't matter, but I think the most common rebuttal is just going to be citing complicitous. These people, they're in on it. Find me the market where there's Jewish rappers who want to rap about murdering other types of Jews. Like,
well, I've got an artist that I'm developing now. I was actually making beats for him this morning. He's called the Holocauster, and he's actually all about Jew-on-Jew violence.
I'm pretty sure there's a guy out there.
He's got some tracks. He says the kike word, or the K word, I'm sorry, every track. He just can't get enough of it. Kikety, kickety, kike, kike. He just can't stop. He's a fucking beast, though. He's got bars.
That's rough. Well, yeah, like, there's definitely a larger sample size of people who are willing to commit crimes and rap about them and be very, very specific about the community they're committing those crimes against, the type of involvement everybody has. I don't know if that exists really to any monetizable degree is for Jewish people.
Don't think I won't murder you just because it's Shabbos. He ain't playing around, man.
Listen,
He's
there's
pistol whipping rabbis.
There's a guy in New York who did an assassination and they dressed up as how do you say it? Hasidic. How do you say it? Hasidic Jew.
Yeah.
You could Google that right now. Hasidic Jew kills drug dealer, kills this Jamaican dude. Full Hasidic Jew outfit, pistol him down. Yeah. It's out there.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. He did it to to run cover. Like, it was a disguise.
It was a disguise.
Yeah.
But still.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. I was about to say. So it wasn't actually a Hasidic Jew who did it?
We would never know. Maybe it was.
That's true.
I'm not here to judge.
That's true.
I don't want to be canceled. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's a Hasidic Jew.
Just to be clear, there was a guy who dressed as a Hasidic Jew to do a hit.
Correct.
Oh, okay, I got you.
It's out there. They got video of it.
But still, I mean, he chose the Hasidic Jew to dress as. So
that
speaks volumes.
Maybe it was his holy day, and he had a job to do. You know, I heard Jews love to do their jobs, so I'm not gonna judge the man. And
for some reason, I don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. These type of conversations shouldn't feel uncomfortable. It should be simple stuff to say, but it's always like, oh man, he said I heard Jews love to do their jobs. That could get you in trouble.
But is that I like to work.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. So citing power, influence, affluence, and all kinds of high level operation skill ability in certain sectors. Those types of things get you in trouble. You talk about business acumen, efficiency.
But you know what we never run away from, though?
Hip-hop has taught me. I'm just going to make a quick note. All the hood gangster rappers that's been out recently that I know of have all done bar mitzvahs. I'm done. I'm done talking.
Yeah, that's probably true.
They've all been paid to do bar mitzvahs.
Wow.
And these are the ones talking about the gun violence the most.
Yo, you know what? I didn't realize how correct you were. until I started thinking
There's a
about
joke in it in Atlanta
how many
where
rappers,
Paperboy does a bar mitzvah.
how many rappers I've seen over the years actually like do that type of shit and show like it was cool. There's nothing wrong with it. They talk about how they did bar mitzvahs, and I've seen it over the years. But wow, that's amazing. I don't know exactly. I see Migos.
Come on, bro.
Offset performs at a bar
You
mitzvah.
know 50's done a couple.
Bro, so wait a minute. So if you say cooking up dope in a crock pot, you can perform at a bar mitzvah. But people who actually do that shit wouldn't be accepted in your community. You probably wouldn't allow. Well, I guess they're allowing their kids to listen to it. Why else would you bring Offset to your bar mitzvah? Your kids are listening to drug dealer music too? I don't know. That's weird to me, bro. That's weird to me. But I guess if you
Well, we do
fully
have
integrated,
a Jew with us.
I think it's a flex, honestly. You know what I mean? Like I got this rap superstar to come perform at my son's bar mitzvah. Because I'm sure they're not showing up for a private appearance cheap.
right? Yeah. So just put the money down. But why not? You can't get like Tony Bennett or something like that. You don't want. There's
And
not
where's
like who's the young cool Jewish kid rapper? Like who's there? Justin Bieber. Why would you bring Offset?
21 Savage.
21 Savage. I'm not hating. I'm just like, what's the connection?
the closest thing is Drake.
Drake would kind of make sense. He would make sense. He's not too bad.
Listen,
everybody complains he's too soft.
but they
so.
still invite the other ones who clearly talk about criminal activities.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
but he's part Jewish, so I wonder how much he could get away with in the conversation.
That's amazing, man.
Because I mean, if Drake actually was thoughtful in these sorts of, I mean, I'm sure he could care less. I doubt he has an opinion about any of it that he'd be willing to share. At the potential, he's about his money, right? He may have the answer to all of this, and it's like, I'm just gonna sit this one out, fellas. I got a bat mitzvah I need to perform at next week. I can't fuck this up. But he's a Jewish dude, and he's a Lenny Kravitz or Zoe Kravitz or whatever. Yeah, Lenny Kravitz. He's Jewish and black too. These people exist, and now you got a white Ashkenazi Jew and a black African making a baby named Drake, and there's a controversy specifically dealing with black people and white Jewish people. And I don't know, would he be inoculated from criticism from anybody?
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, how could you pull his card?
You can't. He's the ultimate Jew card.
Well, for this conversation,
Yeah.
specifically dealing with the seemingly tense standoff between black people and white Jewish execs that are making a lot of money together, and have helped make a cultural phenomenon,
but cannot be critical of a conceptual structure made up of the people who quite literally run the structures that we were talking about. They may not run them as a religious organization.
They run it like a mafia.
Well, allegedly, but they do. These happen to be the same people occupying the highest offices, the people with the most control, the people that makes the final call, to have the final say, all that shit, are all in very specific positions of power. So just to, and this is from what I'm here, I'm just trying to make sense of it, right? So just to bring attention to an actual real life power structure that exists in the real world, that's enough for that power structure that people claim doesn't exist to turn on you and make sure that you lose everything in record time.
But here's a perfect example. When Bumpy Nux talked about Leor Cohen on Industry Shakedown, he said, because that cracker been a liar ever since I known him. He called him a cracker.
Which is acceptable.
Right. And nobody censored him, but what else could he have called him that might have been more ethnically accurate?
Right. That you can't say. You could definitely call him a cracker. We're going to high five and laugh about that. Ha ha, he called him a cracker.
Small heads.
But if you make any allusion to, that's amazing. That is an amazing set of rules. I can't even lie. I can't even lie. The way it's crafted, it's like so. It's almost like lawyery, like like a
It
group
is.
of lawyers set out and wrote it. Like it's gonna be very twisty and twirly, and make sure you can always get trip over your own feet while you're dealing with this structure, because you're gonna fuck yourself one way or the other, or you just completely ignore it and leave it alone. Don't even talk about it, because when you start talking about it, it's like, hey, section 3, subsection A. You see right there, you just fucked up, kid. You can't have PayPal no more. Well, then again, maybe some places are getting back on board. You see, Elon Musk finally took control of Twitter.
Yeah, they said motherfuckers are throwing out the N word and kike word.
Yeah, probably. I
Good for
wouldn't
them.
know.
It's free
all,
speech. Do it.
all over the place.
Yeah.
Within the few hours.
You gotta love how people show their freedom, how they flex their freedom.
Somebody put a picture of Hitler and was like, if Hitler was here today, he would say Rogan, and they just wrote it out. Hard R for the Rogan.
I still think Rogan's a better word. I really
Rogan's
do think-
better. I'm not
yeah.
saying the N word, and the fact that they tried to Joe Rogan is saying the N word, so everything he says is meaningless now. We have to throw him away. They went at him like they went at Kanye. Like he didn't toe the line with the COVID shit, so they shot a shot across his bow to let him know, like, hey, we'll use media to destroy you. Who we is, I don't know, and who makes those decisions at media, again, just don't know. Don't work for enough media companies to know. But supposedly there's a chart online that shows the list of executives that do run those companies, and you can look up their origin story on
there a
Wikipedia.
chart? Is there really a chart?
There absolutely is a chart that outlines every single media organization and who heads it up.
If it has the yarn and nails,
Have at it.
I'm down.
But
Gosh.
but dude, it's
Chart.
yeah. It's unfortunate, but look, Rogan is just a better word, and I love it because if you read it backwards, it's the same word basically,
Pretty much.
and you can say Rogan with a hard R, and it's perfect. It's perfect. It sums up all of this. We're adults. Nobody should be saying the N word, or the K word, or the F word. So find something in culture where you see the ridiculousness of how they're policing language and make up a new word. And the dangerous gentlemen give you Rogan. Everyone should be saying Rogan.
Right.
This is the perfect protection, and everybody knows exactly what you mean, but somehow, even though you're invoking the same thought, nobody gets in trouble because it's not literally the same word. The sacred word.
That's a great fucking skit.
That's a
That's
great
You're
way
like
to live your
just
life.
being
in
upset
general.
and you're yelling Rogan, and then the black person's like, "Are you calling me the N-word?"
Yeah,
What
calling
you
you
said?
Rogan.
Absolutely.
He's
But
like,
I'm not
"No,
saying it, so
I'm
you
calling
can't get mad.
Rogan."
I mean the same thing.
Rogan.
You shiftless Rogan, get the fuck out of here.
This rude
Yeah.
ass Rogan just cut me in line. He's got way more than 10 items in his fucking basket.
Like you're as a black person, you're like, it's genius what he's doing.
Yeah, you
Can
gotta
you
respect
believe
it.
this fucking Rogan?
You gotta respect
I bet
it.
you he's a werewolf. Yeah.
You gotta respect it. If you out in public, if you in Publix or something, you shopping, and some white person calls you a Rogan out loud, you should just tip your hat, even if you're not wearing a hat.
You found a way.
Pretend
Yeah,
you're
man.
wearing a fedora and tip it to that person, and turn around and walk away. That's the only winning play, and that's the only winning play you have if somebody calls you a Rogan in public. Is to just do like a nice little bow where you twirl your fingers at the top. Good day, sir.
Good day.
And walk away. You have
Touche.
no more plays. There are no other plays available to you. Not ones that end in any type of discernible victory. The only one you have is to tip your hat.
Because you have to respect. You have
leave
to
the
respect.
premises. What you
Brain power.
gonna let them trigger you on a whole new word?
Day
Now-
one. Right.
Day one.
That's what I'm saying.
He
Like
called
they
me a
it's a
Rogan.
one up.
You want to fight now? Because I know he really means. That's just stupid, bro. That's it's like the guys who do the what's it called? Let's go. No,
Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, that's let's go, Brandon. And we say let's go, Brandon, because we
But you know it
secretly
means
mean fuck Joe
Fuck
Biden.
Joe Biden.
But we're not actually saying fuck Joe Biden.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Yes.
It kind
Remember,
of
guys,
sounds
I
like
just
fuck
came
Joe
back
Biden.
from Georgia, so this is all new. This Florida stuff
Bro,
is
I
new.
love it.
I'm so lost because I'm from Brandon, and it's like, are they saying let's go Brandon like Brandon?
No.
Like,
Nah,
I'm so lost.
what it was is there was a NASCAR race and they were interviewing him. And again, this is again, I don't know who runs the news. I just know it's fake. But so the girl is doing an interview with the NASCAR driver, like, and his name was Brandon, right? And so he had just won. And this is like a live broadcast on national TV. But in the background, the whole stadium is saying, fuck Joe Biden, fuck Joe Biden. And this bitch with a straight face, without skipping a beat, says, you know, it sounds like they're cheering for you. Let's go, Brandon. And he was like, I'm not. Yeah. So look, and then look, and if Rogan for 400 years they've been calling us Rogans. If people want to roll with that, then there's just going to be a new word, and it'll point out the absurdity. But since we've kind of figured out that a lot of this PC madness and media control and the way we're being forced to interact and think about these ideas and frame these arguments and communicate with one another, we've concluded that the crux of it all is this weird kind of tension / PC partnership between black people and white Jewish people. If you ask a Jewish person, there are words that we're never supposed to say culturally, and it's the names of God. That's what we're not supposed to say out loud, is the name of God.
Right.
Black people, right, nobody can say their sacred word for God is the word that is like the trigger word of the most horrendous, despicable, insulting thing that embodies all the. So, like, in almost a way, black people have been told, like, here's your magical word. Here's your sacred word. There you go, fella. I hope we're cool now. We're cool. Everything's good. It's
All I
weird
know
when you
is
think about it.
You kept saying it for a while, and I kept reading the text messages, and I'm like, what is this motherfucker talking about? He keeps saying Rogan. And I was afraid to ask. And then, I don't know, like, I think I was just high as fuck, and I'm like, I replaced the Rogan with the other word. I'm like, oh, this is what he's been saying.
Right. It's clear from the
And
context
it was like
clues. You
enlightening.
can
I'm
always
like,
infer
I
it.
can't even be mad at that.
Yeah, it's a Rogan,
here.
bro. It's a Rogan. You can't. Like, everything, and even though he shook it off so well, that's even a better part of the lore to add to the lore. Like, this is not like, oh, he got canceled for it. It's another word that we can't say. It's hilarious because people tried to pin something on him, and he just wiggled right out of that shit and went on about his life. So and that's perfect.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do if somebody calls you Rogan. You got to just get on with your life.
He had Freddie Gibbs in his podcast, and it just made him look more friendly with black people. But Joe, like, people pretty much know what's going on with the media, so like nobody takes that shit serious.
Oh,
No,
people
but-
take it seriously. Oh, they sure do.
I don't think enough. Well, I don't know. I just feel like enough people see like behind the drapes. I just
Look, the media decided, let's see if we can get black people to hate Joe Rogan.
yeah.
Let's see if we can get the machine behind it and see if there's let's flex on him and make him disgusting to Spotify and let Spotify just be out there $100,000 or $100 million.
And clap to Spotify too. Didn't mean to cut you off. He doesn't give a fuck about nothing. He's all about.
I mean,
the
they
money.
do. They do. And here's the thing too. Joe Rogan is so not controversial. Joe Rogan is not Louis Farrakhan. Joe Rogan is not Kanye West. Joe Rogan is not David Duke or Richard Spencer. Like, Joe Rogan is probably one of the most tame dudes. That's why his podcast blew up and and it did so well. Like, he's really good at doing an interview, and he's nothing he says is like especially controversial.
He's the new Larry
Usually-
King.
He absolutely is. And what was hilarious to me is they were putting all these journalistic standards on him. And it's like, he's a comedian. He never said he was a journalist. And now he's had to start, like, once he went over to Spotify, like, and they don't get it wrong, they're not on some free speech shit. They removed like 50 to 100 episodes that they're never putting up. They canceled a whole bunch of people,
But I just like for what he said about the Kanye thing. He was like, I'm not gonna take his music off. That's the record company's business. So he's not like
Oh yeah,
just gonna
good for
like,
him.
you know what I mean? Like he's not gonna just like fall through like everybody else does.
Is
But
Kanye on title?
I don't even if he was, I'm pretty sure he would have been dropped because Jay-Z been sold like a lot of his shares.
Yeah, he don't have there's no country for Kanye right now.
Yeah, man. But I don't know, man. I still think he's he's able to still be okay because now he's just basically independent and basically he could just sell shit out of a garage type of, you know what I'm saying?
If
Like,
people support him, I
yeah.
mean,
So
I've never bought any of his
I
shoes
never
or any of
cared for
his
his
shit, but
shoes and stuff either, but like there's motherfuckers who do. I don't know
eh.
how he poisoned his way into the sneakerhead community, but I'm not deep into the community, but I just felt like those shoes are not all that sneakerhead.
Well, at this point, I would buy a pair just on principle.
But
I'll support anything he does at this point for what he was willing to do for the sake of people's consciousness and getting their minds back, for the sake of free speech, for the
I'll pay
sake
for your
of
concert.
opening up for opening up dialogue where we've kind of been put in these boxes, and nobody really knows why, and nobody really knows who's behind it. And if you talk about it, you could end up getting canceled. But there's something there. There's undeniably something to it. And I don't know how we're allowed to talk about it or how we're allowed to frame about it. But obviously, him just speaking how he saw it directly was not the path. That shit will get you fucked up.
Yeah,
But I did
but
figure with, yeah, go ahead.
I, I don't know. Like I just don't see the difference between what he said and what other people have said, and I'm just going by with Charlemagne at this point.
It,
I just
the,
don't see the difference.
well, the thing, and again, this is the reality is black Americans and white Jewish Americans, because you can are and there's people, and again, look, if you're around those circles and you have those conversations, there's really some fucked up explanations. But there are black Jews who aren't like Hebrew Israelites. There's black people who consider themselves
Right?
Jewish.
Yeah, yeah.
They speak Hebrew, they keep kosher, and they're not really widely accepted. And the reality is you can convert to Judaism. You can convert. It's still a religion. You got to take classes and you got to find it. But there's not like um it doesn't seem like there's this overwhelming push for acceptance, right? I think even when there was an instance where there was like Ethiopians who were trying to claim Jewish identity, wanting into Israel, and Israel was like, nah, you know what we mean.
Yeah, they
It's
classified him to Jew B, Jew A, Jew B type shit. I forgot how they
when,
classify it.
when we said Israel was for us, you know it. But we have the Torah. But come on, don't make me say it. But there's a weird thing, like if it, and this is what I figured out, because it is kind of a religious aspect to it, and a political aspect, and a ethnic aspect to it, which is just really it's difficult because nobody else is characterized or framed that way. So it does make it difficult to really pin down what you're talking about or who you're referring to. But if you think about like if you think about like I brought up that line with Freddie Fox, where he was like, Leor, he's been a cracker ever since I known him, or that cracker been a liar ever since I known him. That line, right? It was fine. He insulted him for being white. Nothing got censored. He didn't say anything about Jewish. If you say anything about Jewish anything in hip hop, there's dozens of examples of censorship. That shit does knock it out. But you can absolutely have cave bitch and say cracker. That's fine. But it made me figure out that we were only halfway right about the truth about He-Man, because
Okay.
we concluded it absolutely, like, all of them are pretending that they're going to fight this war, but Skeletor's not dead, Man of Arm, nobody's dying, but everybody's showing up to these battles in super tight drawers, no leggings, no shirts, everybody's ripped. All right, honey, I gotta go out and I gotta fight. But they just hang out at this castle, for days at a time, and then they come back. He-Man they're having gay orgies. They're having He-Man is a bunch of ripped, muscular dudes, and everybody has the same outfit. No pants, just drawers, no shirt, rippling muscles. Nobody ever dies, but we're totally fighting each other.
We wrestling.
So we figured out, like, yeah, this is totally gay. But then I found a new dimension to it. And this is like I'm white or I'm Jewish. I'm white or I'm Jewish. And there's a little bit of like gymnastics that go on. Who is He-Man before he becomes He-Man?
He's Adam.
He's Adam.
Yeah.
Adam, which is Hebrew for red, like red dirt, red clay, or pink people. What color is Adam's shirt?
It's pink.
It's pink. But what happens if you call Adam a cracker and accuse him of white supremacy? He says, hold on a minute. By the power of Grayskull, or Israel, Grayskull, Israel sounds kind of close. All of a sudden, he gets a little darker, and he rides this tiger, and he's He-Man. And he has a completely different identity.
Tiger that changes to the Lion of Judah. Boom.
He is not a cracker in a pink shirt. He's a Jewish dude named He-Man.
My God, dude.
It's not only a metaphor for gay sex orgies. It's also some, not all, but for Jewish people who are wrapped up in their ethnic identity and get really offended on, when people say things. For those people, hey, you can't be mad at me. I'm not white. I'm Jewish. Are you though? That stops you from being white just because you're Jewish? So, and people have pointed that out. So I definitely think the He-Man story I figured out what that cartoon is about. And maybe it's just about the record industry, because they've been telling us, like, look, there's some executives that happen to be Jewish. There's a lot of parties where there's a lot of gay sex. Yeah, it's called He-Man. The record industry is He-Man.
I can't argue. There's nothing. I mean, I'm sure there might be some people that want to rescue for nostalgia purposes, but I was done with it.
You can't unsee it.
Yeah, you
the
can't.
Power of Grayskull.
Grayskull, Israel, I see the similarities. You don't got to work too hard to see the similarities.
I have the power.
Right, to cancel Kanye. I have the power.
To cancel your entire life and kick your money out of a bank. And if you have the power. And one of the easiest offenses to make me show my power is you saying that I have the power. It's like, but you actually say you have the power and then you use it on me. Only if you say I got it. So if you mind your business, you'll never have to actually deal with it. But if you say I have power, I'm going to show you what power I got. And the whole time I'm going to be burning your life down and telling you that we don't have any power. What are you talking about? You're crazy. I'm going to gaslight you. It's all the way, gaslight you until you're penniless and destroy your entire existence.
I got to pick up some meth and fight Skeletor for the next 3 days. So are you going to come to terms with the truth or what? Are you going to fall in line so you can get this record deal? Or do I got to Grayskull you? What's up?
Do I have to Grayskull you? That sounds like something that's happened before, especially in pursuit of a record deal.
Yeah.
Let YouTube tell it. Because everybody on YouTube knows the only way to get a record deal is to take it up the tailpipe. That's the only way.
They tell you.
That's the only way. There's no other way. Wait, are these the people who are also in control of the casting couch too? That's so.
Well, allegedly, and again, there also happens to be a chart online that you can look at that talks about all the movie studios and who's in charge, and again, you'll see another theme. And this isn't all anybody. It's just something that I guess you're just not allowed to notice or make something of. You can't draw any conclusions from that. It's just something that kind of exists. You can know it, but don't say anything about it. But it's undeniable. Wow. And it's not Harvey Weinstein, Jewish gentleman, didn't make us all look great. You know, you can be ugly and get pussy without, you don't have to take the pussy. You can charm your way into pussy. You can
Yeah, I guess. But
you and he made us all look bad, and I don't know, nobody I it didn't seem to be a thing. Like, you know, it's a Jewish movie exec. Is that a one off? Or is
wow.
there, is there a theme? But look, Kanye took he was crucified for us all. Jesus walks and he wanted to become Jesus and he did it. And
Shout out to
ev-
Larry David.
what did Larry David
Larry
do?
David's definitely my favorite Jewish person,
I just
as far
I
as I
just
know.
love his show, man. Just love
Yeah, you
his show.
can't hate Larry David.
Yeah, he's definitely my favorite Jewish person. I don't remember a lot of people that are Jewish that I actually like. I think I like some Mel Brooks movies. You know, he's cool. Spaceballs. I love that kind of shit. But yeah, yeah. I don't know a lot of favorite Jewish people, but he's definitely my favorite Jewish person. Larry David, gotta love it. He for some reason he was able to be completely like he was keyed into a specific audience. But even if you don't know all the inner workings in politics, a lot of the situations that he manufactures and shit in the show, it's just funny. You can just laugh at it. You don't have to be Jewish. You don't have to be black and bourgeois. You don't have to be any specific, in my opinion, anyway. But watching it, it seems like anybody can laugh at it. But
Yeah,
it
man. I
is
think same feeling.
some very specific Jewish humor and shit like that in there. That seems like it would be like, I know there was an episode where he said he was meeting somebody who was a survivor. He was meeting somebody who was a survivor. So he said he knew somebody else, and he invited. Either way, these two people end up at this dinner, both claiming to be survivors. And one of them was an old Jewish person who made it out of a death camp, and the other one was a person who was on the show Survivor, and he had, yeah, he was just on the show, and that's how he was presenting himself. I'm a survivor. Like, he didn't win it, he wasn't like the main, but he was on the show, and it was just, I just imagine the discomfort in a place where you're like, oh yeah, he's a survivor too, and pointing to this guy who was just on a reality TV show. It's gangster shit. You can laugh at that without getting in trouble too. But it seems like you got to be extremely careful if you don't have a person on your team who can kind of deflect the anti-Semitism raised that they're
No, we
inevitably
have
going to
that.
shoot at you.
We have
Yeah, we're
that.
good. We're good because we
We're
have it.
good.
We're good.
We're good.
But it's dangerous out there in these streets.
When you don't have it.
It's dangerous. Shit is real out here.
To cut back to Kanye, it's something that I've been people have been bringing it up, and I think one of you guys might have bring it up. I just want to bring it back again. He's saying all these quote unquote anti-Semitic things, but like the people that he has around him, like Candace Owens and stuff like that, people are also saying like it's weird that he's having these type of quote unquote anti-Semitic talking points, but like Candace Owens is connected to Ben Shapiro
Right.
and like these like super ultra Jew people. Like I don't know what that means, but
Ultra
like
Jew?
I don't know.
Jew.
I
So
don't
like
know.
That-
Ultraman? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
what
don't know,
happens
but
when they all link up together. That's what happened in the
so
Kanye right now.
the question is like, is he getting these quote unquote anti-Semitic ideas from these super Jews, or what's going on? Like,
No,
what's going on?
there's
What's
I
two
think
going
the
on?
term is Uber Jew. That's
Uber
what
Jew.
it
Thank
is.
you. Thank you.
Ubermensch.
Thank you.
There's
I'm an idiot, guys.
no, there's two competing philosophies here. He's not endearing himself to anybody, which is why I love what he's doing and I gotta respect him. I don't care if he's wording it right. I don't care if the outrage machine is telling me that in order for me to be a moral person, I have to denounce him. I just don't care. But there's two huge landmine issues that's making him no friends, and he's pointing out that everybody's married to their ideology so that they won't say the truth. Candace Owens was forbidden by the Daily Wire. You cannot have him on. You cannot have him on.
Oh, okay.
So for all of the shit that Ben Shapiro says about free speech, he does not hold to it. So when he's complaining about his conservative ass getting muted by Twitter and people that think like him getting booted from Twitter and being canceled, right? He don't have that energy for Kanye. His personal shit is, you're talking about my voodoo doll, my Dick Cloud voodoo doll mascot, and so fuck you. I'm not going to do anything to help you have a saying. And this is the thing. If you really cared or really thought, and Ben, you can find footage of Ben Shapiro making this argument for any of these issues.
He got
right?
H3 suspended for a week because H3 was like, if the Holocaust happens again, you should put him, Ben Shapiro should.
But
he
isn't
said
that
something like that?
But isn't that dude Jewish too?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
he lives in Israel.
Is
he
his
lives
name.
in Israel.
Right. So this is what makes it even sillier. So now a Jewish person can't make a Holocaust joke about another Jew that he disagrees with politically.
But a black guy who kills another black guy and makes a song about it gets a $100,000 advance.
Right, and the executive that happens to be Jewish is not going to use the same power that they use to cancel Kanye to make sure that black on black murder jingle doesn't make it to market. Kanye's shoes can't be had because he's got some questions, but this black on black murder jingle is going to get out there. And they keep playing that Leor Cohen clip on the Breakfast Club. I think that's him, where he's like, look, I've got people to feed. Because Charlemagne's asking him, like, well, don't you see that there's this opioid crisis? Why are you allowing artists to put out music promoting things that's getting people killed? And he said straight up, I got people to feed. Wow. It makes money. What do you want me to do? So it's completely unapologetic. And look, this is, again, we're being gaslit like this is just out of nowhere. This is just crazy Kanye. He's crazy. And they're going after Kanye because they don't like the fact he's not towing the line that political forces want for him as an influencer, right? So then he gets embraced by Candace Owens, but now he's saying things that are on like that pro-black hip-hop shit that flies in the face of these conservative things. So when he promotes conservative values, the democratic liberal machine that fucking owns hip-hop and the black voice and the black identity, that some people would say maybe there's an inordinate amount of media influence, whoever runs media, again, I don't know, that kind of determines what that voice or what that line is going to be that he has to toe, and he hasn't towed it. So that's why Charlemagne toes that line. You know, Russell Simmons toes that line. They're telling you to get vaxxed. They're telling you to vote Democratic. So you know what? Their comments about Jewish people in the context of hip hop and the secret relationship between blacks and Jews, not the slave ships, Puff Daddy and Leor Cohen working out deals. Because here's the thing. You want to get fucked by Leor or you want to get fucked by Puffy? Puffy's really a black dude looking out for black people. Why is every black artist that ever been signed to Puffy is like...
He said he doesn't owe nobody nothing.
Right, so they feel the same way about Puffy that they feel about some of these Jewish executives. Do you hate black people if you hate Puffy and hate the fact that he robbed his artists? Does that mean there's a whole bunch of black people doing fucked up business deals? Or is it just so happened there's a black dude named P. Diddy who didn't do right by people that were under him? That he made a whole lot of money, and a lot of people are complaining they didn't see that. So when Kanye was promoting conservative shit, all of them ran to him. And all of the people that would be on some pro-black shit that loved Kanye for his pro-black comments, they abandoned him. You wear the red hat, you're a white supremacist. Now he's saying pro-black shit that's really grounded in some hip-hop shit, and those same people that were promoting him and platforming him, like the people at the Daily Wire, said this motherfucker absolutely cannot come in and talk. Even though Ben Shapiro has gone on the record and said censorship is not the answer to bad speech is more speech. But yet you're not going to have a conversation with Kanye. You're not going to allow Kanye West to say what he really thinks. You're not going to give an explanation about how he should. So let me ask, and I would ask this to Ben Shapiro. How are we supposed to feel about German people? Do we hate German people? Are we allowed to say publicly that I think German people threw a lot of us in ovens, and there's whole branches of our family trees that aren't here because people who were of German nationality and German ancestry decided to kill 6 million of us, and also 6 million other races, but it never gets referenced as 12 million. Our pain is the most important pain. So the actual numbers of the death camps are 12 million, but we only say 6 million because that's us. Nobody else fucking matters. We're the most important. We're the belle of the ball when it comes to the misery Olympics. We are the belle of the ball. Our pain matters. So if we have any feelings about German people, does that mean we hated that moment in time and that act of those Germans, but now we hate all Germans forever? And if we say that we have any kind of emotions about the Holocaust, does that villainize all German people because we had some bad experiences with Germans? But if Kanye is a black man, has some bad experiences with European Jews because we went through the Holocaust, Kanye can't have that opinion? He can't have a little bit of a feeling towards a group of people that he feels has wronged him and his people. But we can have this shit about we hate Nazis forever. And again, we framed the whole thing based on our suffering alone. There was millions of dead soldiers. There was millions of other races killed in camps like the Gypsies that were not Jewish, that are not mentioned in the figure. It's only our death tolls that matter. We basically marketed, and we've made that the Jewish identity. That's Jewish identity. Were your people almost killed in the Holocaust? If you're in Ethiopia with some scrolls, maybe you speak Aramaic, maybe you had the shit before European Jews, it doesn't matter. You weren't a victim of the Holocaust, so you're not really Jewish. So we've made this identity based on victimhood. That's really what it is. So that's why you can't pin it down as religion or ethnicity, or it's really what it is. Were you victimized, or do you descend from Holocaust survivors? If not, you're not really Jewish. That's how we've kind of made it. And it's silly because I've never met a Jewish person that actually believes any of it. Never met a Jewish person that does. I've never met a truly religious Jew. I've met people that may go to temple, but if you talk to them privately, they're like, yeah, it's bullshit. We know it's bullshit. It's more for the culture and the tradition. It's preserving a tradition. It's not really like, I believe this shit is from God. It's not. So, Look, Kanye has pissed off everybody, and he's kind of pointed out the hypocrisy of everybody. Ben Shapiro wants free speech, except when his voodoo doll is offended. Black people want to speak truth to power, except when a black man points out to you, you don't own the black voice. You're being told what the black voice is by people who are not us. That's some fucking difficult waters to navigate. And the rest of us are kind of stuck with the unresolved tension that's never going to go away because we're being told we can't actually figure this out. Which kind of, if you were like a Bobby Fischer level of conspiracy theorist, Jews run the world, they're out to get us, the Rothschilds, they dominate everything. If you're kind of on that train, I don't know how this helps. I don't know how this talks you off the cliff.
That's what I'm saying too. I agree with that. Like, for those people who can strive to that Jews run the world, they're the Illuminati. Doesn't this prove their point even more now?
If they can tell you take your 140 million and beat it, Rogan, I think so. If they can look you in your face and said, I used to sell insurance policies on your great grandpappy, take your money and beat it, Rogan. If you can look Kanye in the eyes and tell him to take his money and his 140 million, yeah, I say you're pretty fucking. I couldn't tell somebody to take their 140. If I had 140 million that somebody gave me to hold, and I was making money off of that, and they came up and said, "Hey, listen, Kanye's coming to my bank and saying I need to make a withdrawal. Ooh, it's gonna take some time. We're gonna have to do it little by little. I can't give you a whole 140 million at once. That's just bad business." But they're powerful enough to tell him, yo, fuck you, beat it. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think you change people's minds that way. I think a Larry David changes people's minds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? An artist, just like Kanye, his art is comedy. He gives it so that all people can enjoy it, and it's not like you said. And there are shows that were like super Jewy. There are shows like that. Like I think The Nanny was kind of, a Jewish show. Probably, the Goldbergs. There's a
The
couple of shows.
Nanny. You had your
Yeah.
boy
Uh,
Frasier,
Arrested
Seinfeld.
Development was kind of like a Jewish show.
Arrested
I,
Development loved it. Genius.
I don't think Frasier was Jewish. It was really kind of a Jewish show. They had some stuff here
It's
and
Jewy comedy to me.
kind of, but I don't think.
Upper class,
Just the
important
usage of the word
person.
Jewy right here is
You know what I'm
amazing to me.
saying?
But
Listen, I'm shielded. I'm shielded because I'm Christian and I'm the one.
Jewy comedy. What counts as Jewy comedy?
Frasier. We're naming them. Frasier, Seinfeld, Larry David,
but
Woody Harrison,
Woody Allen.
Woody
But
Allen. I'm
but
sorry.
you put
Sorry.
you put like you said, there's little things that and it comes up, but it's not a Jewish show. Like Curb Your Enthusiasm, there's instances where his cultural Jewishness comes up and adds to the shenanigans, right? The ensuing misunderstandings and but it's not like a Jewy show where you know what I mean? Where it's like that's the theme of it.
I got you.
But for black shows, that's how they force them to be, right? There's a lot of black shows where they're like, look, we need you to black it up, make it as black as fucking possible.
Yeah.
And I think Larry David, has got the formula to where it's like, yeah, his identity's in there, but it's not all of who he is, and I think that's what gives him maybe a broader appeal. But I think if you wanted, because of all this fuckery that has gone on, if you've watched a whole bunch of BitChute videos and read the comments, and you've been outraged about how Kanye was treated, and you really, really feel like, look, everything I've ever heard negative about Jewish people is absolutely true, and you wanted to hate them, and maybe you even wanted to shoot up a synagogue, I think canceling you is more likely to solidify that position than you watching Curb Your Enthusiasm. I think Larry David is the best hope that we have for people not hating European Jews after the shit that's been done with Kanye. Like we need artists and culture makers to, and this is the problem, is that the people that are influenced over culture, like there's another, call it a business class, a political class, or whatever, who's really tried to monopolize the ownership and the direction of art, and art has suffered as a result. And people's tolerance has gotten less. We're becoming more and more segregated, more and more angry, more and more isolated. And I think, Ben Shapiro is contributing to that. If you think Kanye's wrong, let him go on Candace Owens and have that conversation.
He's been going everywhere else. Like, why would you? I don't know.
But listen, when he wore the White Lives Matter, Ben Shapiro was happy for the Candace Owens show, right? To have that publicity. When Kanye was promoted, because he was making the same point that you were making, why are we saying Black Lives Matter? White Lives Matter too. When you were saying all that shit and Kanye came up, you were definitely down. And the moment Kanye, so when you had a grievance about how black people felt about white people, and it was being conducted from a morally incorrect place, it wasn't as ethical or as righteous as it could be. You were happy to have Kanye as a partner because he was a black dude. You saying it as a tiny Jewish white dude, you're gonna inevitably be called a racist, right? But now Kanye, who's black, is expressing your sentiment. You love to have it. You love to have that cover. But now he said some super black shit, and it's like, yo, get the fuck out of here. We're not gonna have you on. It's horribly hypocritical, but he's got no friends right now. Like he's alienated everybody. He's infuriated the movements that tried to co-opt him, both from the right and the left. And I'm gonna be very interested to see what comes of this. But I hope.
Still got me, Kanye. I hold the black essence,
dude. I like him more than ever.
Yeah,
more than ever.
Him.
Yeah, I can't lie.
I've grown to like him.
I can't lie. I've always, of course, we always dig the music. He's always made pretty dope music. Not something I would say I follow. I wasn't like excited. Oh, Kanye's dropping an album. Let me go listen to it. I kind of get around to it as things progress.
Yeah,
But
same here.
exactly. But he's always been high level producing music. Period. So that's not even part of the conversation. The real deal is everything outside of that. How many times has he been just nutty? Like how Kanye's doing some crazy shit. I don't know if that's as true as people want us to believe, because people that's the narrative that's going out, is he's been losing his mind for a long time and everybody's just not paying attention. Like when was anybody saying this about him years ago? I don't remember, other than the shape of his shoes and shit like that. But that's high fashion. That's what people do. They make goofy looking shit just to stand out. Other than that, I don't think I saw any reason to really be scrutinizing anything that he says. I mean, oh yeah, I'm Picasso of my generation and shit like that. It's like none of this is mental illness talk, or we should be worried about Kanye talk. I don't know when that started. Slavery was a choice, right? Slavery, 400 years, that sounds like a choice to me. Maybe it's because I'm jaded with the whole race play. But to be honest, when he said, I knew exactly what he was talking about when he said that. I knew exactly what. There was no confusion in my brain. Even with people who did express some kind of confusion and wanted to be upset about it, I think they just wanted to be upset, and that's just what it was. I've seen multiple people, like Umar, for instance, and you know how smart this dude is. This dude ain't no dummy. And Umar talked about how Kanye said slavery was a choice. He must not have heard about Denmark VC. He must not have heard about such and such. So he started naming a bunch of people who organized slave revolts and did a whole bunch of shit. And I'm like, isn't this the list of people who chose differently, though?
Exactly.
Like,
And I listen, I'm going to go even further. The Holocaust was a choice.
ooh.
If Kanye can say slavery was a choice, I'm going to say the Holocaust was a choice. And there was some Warsaw ghettos
Oh yeah, it was
where
getting
there was
busy.
uprising,
Yeah.
absolutely. So and when you read up on it and you study the history of it, a lot of us just we fucking go along to get along. Okay, sure. And they use that against us. Like to lull us to sleep. Oh no, make sure you keep your number because we're coming right back to get your shoes. We just need here, put all your things in a locker. We're gonna come back out and get them. Here, get on this train. We're gonna take you somewhere. And we just went along. We just got in the train. We took off our shoes and put it into the locker. We weren't pistol whipped to go into those gas chambers. We just walked in. We want to be good citizens. We don't want to make any waves. But there was some people who were like, fuck that shit. I guess I'm gonna die because I'm not doing this shit. And yeah, sometimes that's your only choice. Be a slave or die. Be a victim of Hitler or die. It's a fucked up choice to make. It's a fucked up decision. But to say that you don't understand, like, it's silly. It's silly. And
Right.
people and it. You go ahead.
No, I was saying that's the point right there. That's the big point. Is you can arrive at this conclusion where you understand the logic so easily. You don't need to do no mental gymnastics. It's like, oh yeah, I get what you're saying. But people pretending that they don't get it and choosing outrage. That's the part that you can't. You can't engage with that. This is just like waking up, trying to wake a person who's faking being asleep. You can't engage with that kind of shit. You're never going to be able to accomplish nothing because they're pretending in the first place. So fuck that.
But he's seen how the media machine, which again he associates based on his experience, and again there's lists out there you can look up online, but he associates it with a particular group of people that seem to have influence over that and an agenda, and he's a person who's absolutely been victimized by the media. So there's some people the media will cover up for. Hunter Biden comes to mind. Had an illegal gun, did a lot of coke, fucked a lot of hookers. All of this shit is supposed to be illegal. Did it with his dad's credit card. Yo, not an arraignment, not a FBI investigation, nothing.
Is any of that allegedly, by the way, or is there
None of
video
it is
evidence
allegedly. It is all
I
on the
seen the
record.
tapes. I
that
seen
he-
the prostitutes. I seen the scales with the crack.
Look,
Well, what
he
That's all I
appeared to
have
be
to say.
crack. What appeared
he
to be crack.
Hey,
he
allegedly.
no, he said it he said it in his text. I'm starting to think that Hunter Biden has a blackmail scheme on his dad. That's what I'm starting to think. He's like, I'm gonna fuck this up for you. Listen. This is what you need to do. Like it's just too much accident. You don't accidentally put out your crack video. You don't accidentally lose your laptop where you've recorded yourself fucking hookers and doing meth and doing coke. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he's like, all right, Dad, cool. That's how we're doing it. Not a problem. I'm gonna go get my computer fixed. See you in the midterms. Let's see how this goes. But the media came along, the same media that's attacking Kanye, the same media that's pretending they don't understand what he's saying, that's telling us not the news, but how we should feel about these things. That same media apparatus that said, don't put out the Epstein story. We need to keep fucking these kids on the island. Don't you dare stop it. And I don't know, there's a little temple on the island. I'm going to use Doobie's word. Looked a little Jewy, looked a little familiar, had a certain color scheme. Why we got a Jewy looking temple there? I don't know, but look, whatever. But hey, you can't tell people this dude who, I don't know, is this a stereotype? He's in finance. That this Jewish dude in finance who has an island where powerful people who run the world go to fuck kids, don't put that story out. Don't put Hunter Biden's laptop out. Oh, Kanye,
Do we call his island?
tell everybody he's
Grayskull?
crazy.
Is
Yeah,
that
I'm
the
down for
island
that.
of Grayskull?
The island of Grayskull. The island, Little St. James, the island of Grayskull. So, yeah, I got some questions, media. Whoever runs you didn't want to tell me all these other things that kind of matter and are undeniably true, but you're going out of your way to tell me how I need to feel about Kanye's comments. Because here's another thing that some people would say is mental illness. You're on a telethon. The telethon is trying to raise money for people who are suffering. You're a celebrity and you're using your celebrity to help these suffering people via this telethon get the funding and assistance that they need. And all of a sudden, you go off script to say what you feel, which is inappropriate, it's not in the script, and is going to be inflammatory to a lot of people. When Kanye said George Bush doesn't care about black people in the middle of a telethon, and it's some of the greatest footage of all time, and you see how nervous Mike Myers is,
Yo,
and then
shocked.
and then they bring in Chris Tucker. We need a black guy that's on board. Go to the black guy. Camera B, get another black guy to kind of make it all right. It's so goofy. It's so apparent. It's hilarious. But in any other context, right? That person's mentally ill. What you just did was crazy. There was never any allegations. Because the media machine said, of course we hate George Bush. Of course we hate George Bush. Of course we're not going to put out this Hunter Biden story. Of course we're not going to tell people about Fuck a Kid Island. Absolutely not. And that same machine said, no, we're not going to call Kanye crazy over this. Kanye likes Trump. Call this motherfucker crazy. And that's what he's been dealing with now for, I mean, it's got to be what, 6, 7, 8 years? Yeah, at some point it takes a toll on you. I love Mike Myers' face.
Right here. This is where it freezes.
You
Oh, there it goes, right there. Uncomfortable white man. There it goes.
You see the heart palpitations through his chest. And he's like, if I correct this black man, he might kill me. He might choke me and beat the shit out of me. He's not going to say anything.
Austin Powers, I don't want to say anything.
So, but what was he crazy then, though? Was he crazy when he said
Not
that?
for what he said, no, because he was
Right.
like the media shows us as thieves. When they show the other ones, they're fighting for survival, and then like, you know, his reaction to Katrina was horrible. It was horrible. It was horrible. Shout out to the FEMA cards too, by the way.
And maybe it was horrible because of incompetence. Maybe it was horrible.
It was incompetence.
Because, you know, or maybe it could have just been George Bush was like, how many Rogans do you think we can kill if we just don't respond? Maybe it was nefarious. I don't know. But the fact that Kanye had that opinion at a time or in a context where it was incredible, and you hear what I love about it is you hear the nervousness in his voice. You
Like,
hear
yeah.
That's what made that shit so powerful to me, because he knows he's bucking. Like, there's a media machine and system in place, and this is what this machine is doing right now. You're jumping off the script to say some shit that's unpleasant, unwelcomed, that's going to be very offensive to a lot of people, and he knows it, and he goes for it anyway. And that upped his black legitimacy.
It gave him a boost in blackness.
Black people loved him after that. Like, he's a hero.
Bro, I never really realized that they
Jumped to Chris Tucker.
I never.
The first thing I